With real-world racing being put on hold lately, naturally, a lot of drivers have taken to the virtual world to fulfill their passion for speed. IMSA driver Daniel Morad and the folks at RacingEdge.com are no different. They've decided to share some of that joy with their peers. With that, they've seen fit to establish an exciting 6-round series for professionals and amateurs alike to test their skills against some of the greatest tracks in the world and two fantastic Audi race cars. We'll see how much they match up as we get ready to watch round one of the Racing Edge Esports Championship. And you'll see it all live here on the Global SimRacing channel. Hi, I'm Joe Peak, and with me in the booth is Stefan Schlacker and Nick Schmeg. Behind the scenes is our director, Sean Crackers Ambrose, and he's using cameras provided by Dougie Beard. Circuit of the Americas plays host to our first round of the series. One of the newest tracks on the world stage, this venue has quickly established itself as a noteworthy circuit. To find out a little bit more about it, why don't we head down to our track guide. Welcome to Circuit of the Americas. The cliche of everything's bigger in Texas rings true for this track in the Lone Star State. Built specifically for Formula One, the number of corners, circuit length, safety features, and general track amenities immediately set this place apart from almost every racing course in the United States. Of the 3 layouts available, the most widely used is the Grand Prix circuit, which tops out at a whopping 20 turns along nearly 3.5 miles. Many of them have been modeled after well-known sections of European tracks such as Silverstone, Hockenheim, and Istanbul. But compared to those venues, this place still has lots of unique challenges. Turn 1 in particular features the largest elevation change from the lap and culminates in a blind and sharp hairpin. The penultimate corner is just as tough, with its off-camber apex and sudden drop forcing many to escape to the paved runoff on the outside. And though it was meant to lure F1, many other series have now raced here, ranging from IndyCar to WEC, IMSA, and even V8 supercars. Track days are also common, with the SCCA running all types of amateur events to allow up-and-coming drivers to feel what it's like to battle on the same tarmac as Vettel and Hamilton have. With this track, American race fans finally get to experience a purpose-built course made in the modern day. Texas went bigger and better, and in the process, raised the bar for their peers. iRacing did a wonderful job recreating this place, but Nick, why don't you fill us in on a few of the details and the nitty-gritty here?
Yeah, well, Joe, you mentioned this is one of the newest tracks to enter the world stage, and to me and pretty much all race fans around the world, to many of us, this still feels like a very new racetrack. It was built specifically for Formula One, and it debuted in 2012. Since then, the World Endurance Championship, MotoGP, and IndyCars, among others, have come to visit. But Joe, there's going to be 3 big things to look out for in this race of the track car combo. As always, that 133-foot climb to the turn 1 hairpin is always going to spell trouble for a few of the drivers. Also, after that, you've got the fast S's section. You're going to have to watch for understeer in the TCR and the GT3 cars today. And then turns 12 through 19, it kind of feels like a stadium section of the track because there's no elevation changes and you have those tight left and right switchback corners. All things that drivers are going to have to keep in mind today.
Absolutely. It should provide some good racing and quite a bit of difficulty for our racers out there. But speaking of our racers, well, Steph, you've got the race details for what they're up against in this event specifically.
Yeah, and it is going to be very interesting. Obviously, as Ray said a few times right now, we are in the first round of this 6-round series. They are going to be racing the Audi RS3 TCR and the Audi RAG G3, so pretty much an Audi series right now. They are going to be racing for 30 minutes straight. There are cash prizes out there for all the podium finishers, and they are going to be able to tinker away as much as they want on their Audis because they are utilizing the full open setup here on iRacing, and they are most definitely going to need that, and probably also gonna have to make some compromises because of the fast flowing first sector and the very fast straight line speed sector that is sector 2.
Now, currently we have qualifying going on, and the drivers take a bit to get around here, hence why we're only just now seeing some laps putting down in our quicker class, the GT3s, and looks like Michael Cooper has the provisional pole on that one. Still waiting on quite a few of them to come around. One thing that I find interesting as well, Steph, and you have a lot of experience with racing these two cars against each other here on the sim, is the traffic, the difference between them. It's such a long lap, and I didn't think it would be an issue, but there's quite a bit of time between them, it seems.
Yeah, and that is obviously all because of the lack of downforce, the lack of top speed, and also the lack of turning speed that the TCR cars have, especially with the front wheel drive. Where we might see some troubling times in the lapping maneuvers is probably going to be turn 6 here at Circuit of the Americas, the long right hand exit out of the S section at the beginning of the track, because the TCR will have to go out and cut very sharply back in to actually make that corner and have a setup into the left-hander of turn 7. The Audi TCR, you're going to see it very narrow to the inside curb, speed around there, and if the GT3 driver isn't 100% aware of what the TCR is going to do, there is going to be quite some trouble right there.
And right now, Cooper's still holding that pole over Take Kim. They only get 2 laps, by the way, in this qualifying. Kim just finished his and puts it into second. Here's Christopher Bailey coming around in that TCR class. Mark Alguero is currently leading the way up there, and by quite a gap, 1.8 seconds currently between those two. So there is some serious time to be made up from the rest of the field to catch our pole sitter. It's like that just got cut down to 1.1 as Christopher Bailey moves it up to second in his TCR Audi. Nick Rowland, who was quick in the warm-up, comes up to fourth on his second lap. And fortunately, looks like he had an off on the first one. So that's going to be it for him. The highest he'll be is on the second row.
We also just saw Mac Clark make his way up to second place in the TCR class.
Getting ever closer, but still a wide gap back to Mark Alguero, 0.9 of a second. I wonder if some of that, with this being open setup, Steph, is it possible to try and get the tires kind of up to temperature quicker with a special qualifying setup? And maybe that's what he's done over everybody else?
Sure, you can do that, but the big problem is that actually the tires on the TCR, they need 2 laps to fully warm up. The fastest lap always is your 3rd lap of the qualifying stint. So actually these guys aren't able to utilize the full speed that their tires will be giving them, as Marco Aguero now is going to head through turn 16, going to head up to those last 2 turns after he passes through the Omega. So it's going to be interesting what he can do in his 2nd lap. But as said, right now, it seems like he's actually able to find a way to get his tire sort of to the as close as possible to the maximum amount of grip they can produce as he goes over the line with a 21.040. Not fast enough to improve.
Looking to see where Clark is with him being second. He's still got a ways to go before he finishes his lap. Bailey's going to get there before him. Sanders looks like he had a non-lap that time by, and he doesn't have enough time to finish his next one. You can see the clock ticking down with just about a minute to go. Federico finds himself into 6th in that TCR class. Here comes Shaughnessy as well. Let's see if he can go higher than the 12th spot. Does, but only up 1, a 23.9. Just a little bit of an improvement for him. See Bailey coming around. Let's see what our 3rd place TCR drivers got underneath them. Not a quicker lap, unfortunately, just about a 10th slower that time through. It's down to Matt Clark, who seems the most likely to be able to overtake in the qualifying. What has he got? Last corner, he's got to beat a 21.6 to improve his own time, but has to go up 0.9 and a big spin of the wheels. Unfortunately, it's going to cost him out of the last corner, so that's going to do it for him. Looks like a few other drivers may be going to be coming through. I think Nathaniel Kelly is on a slow one here, so not sure that he has still got time to complete it. In fact, yep, everybody is done. Before we get to the grid, let's remind you of our sponsor. Want to put your racing skills to the test on the track? Visit racingedge.com and check out the latest listings for race cars and classic cars. From super quick McLarens to vintage Ferraris, racingedge.com will cater for your needs. Want to learn more about how to get into motor racing? Visit racingedge.com/media for more. Let's go by tens here in our starting grid, with the GT3 leader being Michael Cooper up on the pole. Take him will be starting in second today. Giuliano Romagnolo will be starting P3, and Nick Rowland will round out the outside of row 2. Alex Ellis starts fifth today with Daniel Mora, the organizer of the event. He managed to put it into sixth. Nick DeCampo will be starting in seventh, and you've got Gavin Sanders in eighth and Richard Hibbs in ninth. Tom Emson will be 10th. Nick?
Behind them, it's going to be Michael Melvin, Parker Chase, Nelson Mason, and David Levine, rounding out your top 14. And then we jump back to the TCR class. Your pole sitter in that class is Mark Alguero and Mac Clark up on the front row. Christopher Bailey, Sydney Nye, and Brian Zinn will round out your top 5 there. 20th overall in the grid is going to go to Alex Fedorka.
Yeah, 21st on the grid will be Sam Hart with Jeremy Steinhausen in 22nd. Rich Price 23rd. Christopher Stiles will be lining up in 24th with Michael Shaughnessy in 25th. Ryan Reynard in 26th. Arno Tabang will be lining up in 27th position with Konstantin Berger in 28th. 29th and last spot in qualifying went to Stefan Johansson in 29th, and 30th will be Alex Monteferrand.
Yep, now we're getting into drivers who didn't put a qualifying time in their class. It looks like they're not gridding them up according to the class here, so they will be behind the TCRs. Scott Kidd will start 31st with Anthony Simone in 32nd. Roman DeAngelis starts 33rd. Then you've got Alex Ferreira, William Slipsky, Zlad Dejik in 36th, and Nathaniel Kelly 37th. Federico Fernandez will round out the 38 drivers who start the field today. They take off behind the pace car. Porsche is going to lead them to the line, just half a pace lap, thankfully. They're not going to do a full one around this whole track as they weave their way back and forth through that stadium section we talked about. I'll be honest, this is probably the part I like the least about this track. It always seemed the most difficult to get speed out of.
Well, that is the problem if you combine the two worlds of Formula 1 and MotoGP into one track, which was what the contract was given towards Mr. Tilke. So yeah, it's a little bit sad that it ends off like this, but hey, if you have to mix two worlds that are completely different, sometimes this comes out.
Just a couple more corners to go, then we'll get 30 minutes of racing with two classes. Number of real-world drivers out here to keep your eye on here today. Of course, Morad being one of them, coming off of IMSA, as well as Michael Cooper, GT4 racer. Parker Chase is out there. Alex Ellis as well, competing today. Pace car is in. Waiting patiently. Cooper controls the field. Is he going to go early? Yes, he is. Green flag is out here for round 1 for the Racing Edge Esports Championship. Cooper's got a good jump, but Take Him is under attack from Romagnolo up the inside into the first turn. The cars are going to fan out as it gets very wide into this hairpin. Hopefully we get everybody through safely. A bit of a nudge as one goes around. That's Roland facing the wrong way.
Yeah, good one for everybody in behind, because he's actually way off the racing line, as some people actually go to the inside of him. And a lot of people are extremely slow. I think someone stalled their engine in turn 1, but apart from that, everything good.
Cooper still leading in the GT3s. TCRs have Matt Clark at the front of that grid currently with a handy half-second gap over Nye. Other than that one spin, I didn't see too many dramas in the field. So far, so good. They come down into the hairpin leading on the backstretch. Let's see if anybody gets the run off of 11. Ooh, we had a big crash in the back, unfortunately.
Looks like Michael Shaughnessy got turned around.
Looks like Huard is involved in that. We'll come back to that in a little bit and see if we can get a replay later. Continue to watch Cooper lead the way, 0.7 of a second over Romagnolo. Certainly too far back down into turn 12, but a pass for third, potentially Kim. Yet handling more pressure, this time from Alex Ellis. The 74 looking around the outside as they enter the stadium section, and that's not going to work. Meanwhile, back at the front of the TCR class, Matt Clark ahead of a whole slew of cars. Nye very close with Monferrante, Alguero in there as well. I see Scott Kidd. In fact, a lot of side-by-side here for second place. Into the inside, Alex in the number 97 is going to get there. Both of them going very wide off track. They do have penalties for taking too many incidents. And it looks like Sidney Nye is going to be slow as Scott Kidd slots into third.
Well, this is where you see, though.
Big bobble from Monferrante. More cars going slow as well. And now Kidd is going to go up to the lead. Matt Clark slowing down, falls all the way to third. It is all around the field here at the top of the group. Monferrante is going to have a peek at the lead as well as they come off the final corner. Scott Kidd does not defend as he's already got the nose inside. A little bit of an overlap. Oh, and excuse me, it looks like Monferrante is racing in the GT3 classes. That is cars trying to simply get through.
And you just saw in the background there, Alguero get around Sidney Nye as well for second place. Remember, Alguero had the pole for this TCR class, but he fell back to third place. He fell back to third place because of just such a slow start. That allowed Matt Clark to get in front of them all.
Yep, Clark still our leader in that group. Apologies as didn't quite recognize them from my faraway angle that we're looking at, but watching now on screen, Sidney Nye still in third, chasing Alguero.
Yeah, the big question is here if Nye is going to be able to get past, as now Nick Rowland comes in, flying into the apex here. And yeah, I don't think he's going to disturb anyone here in this battle because he shot quite nicely that gap between Nye and Alguero, and now he's going to fly past these TCR. Look at that speed difference. That is nearly the same engine that they wanted to use in a GT3 car once, but thankfully they decided to go into with a V6, I think that is, in the GT3 car.
Meanwhile, we've had a problem for Melvin. This is one of our GT3s. What happened here? This is Michael Melvin in 11th place now. Into the stadium section. The replay, did he get some help? No. Oh, and he almost got run into by the 37 as well. That was Mason. Great heads up by Nelson to prevent it from becoming a worse situation.
Now, can we just note here that the 36 and the 37 spun into the same exact corner?
One after another. So they're in sync here, it seems. Got a good battle going on for 7th in the GT3s. That's Tom Emson. Actually, for 6th, it looks like, is Sanders. No, it is for 7th. Sanders is going to come out on top in the number 10. There you see him in the red, white, and black machine. Mostly black machine is Emson, who we hop on board with now, coming through the S's up to the top of the hill. We continue to follow them down towards turn 11. Sounds like we had a little spin farther back for Hibbs. Talk about that later. This is the important exit here for Emson coming onto the back stretch. Is he going to get the slipstream?
I don't think he's quite there yet.
Yeah, I don't think this is going to be nearly close enough, as despite the speed that they build up, 160 miles an hour before they brake. Ooh, and very strong on the brakes from Tom. Number 11 gained a little bit of time, but maybe overshot the corner slightly.
There's a bit of action right in front of these two as well.
That's the battle between Morad and Del Campo, excuse me. Oh, car off track. That's Shaughnessy in the TCRs.
Yep.
Yeah, also Del Campo nearly spun through that turn number 15, so also lucky break for him as now Morad gets held up by Shaughnessy as he has to go around the long way. Sanders also gets a little bit squeezed there on the outside. That's not going to help him, but Morad's still on the back of Del Campo.
Now that's become the closer fight now between these two pairs that we're watching. This will be for a top 5. Del Campo in front of them in the light blue machine.
P3 is very close. Ellis goes to the inside of turn 1. That's not going to work out. He shoots past the apex. And Kim says, thank you very much, I remain in third.
Oof, sudden action there shows you how quickly things can happen up into that first turn with that blind crest.
Oh, and Moran is passed. Moran is passed Campo for 5th.
Gonna guess that happened in the first turn. Yes, indeed it did. Morad showing that real-world skill, outbreaking him into the corner, getting his nose inside and making it happen. Meanwhile, we just have a battle for the lead right now with Clark and Alguero. This is in the TCRs, and it's a drag race down the front stretch.
Yes, indeed. Alguero able to get back at Matt Clark. He was able to just get to his inside and turn number 20. Like you said, it's a drag race uphill, a little sideways goes Matt Clark. He's going to try to tuck in underneath and try to do a crossover. Not going to have it. I think Alguero is going to have the advantage as they head down to the S's.
To ride on Clark, there's also some side-by-side racing behind them with Nye, Federico, and I believe that is Bailey.
Yes, that's the battle for third.
Looks like Bailey gets the best of it.
Yes, Sydney Nye was just in front of Bailey, too, at the line, so they must have swapped places a couple of times, and then you see Alex Federico get in that mix.
Probably a few of our viewers saw that there was a GT3 car right on the gravel on the inside of the SS. That was Anthony Simone, 18th place in the GT3 class. He spun himself out before the SS.
Some of our drivers definitely getting some traffic. But look at how close this is now. Down into the hairpin.
Whoa!
Oh, contact between Nye and Bailey. Nye's going to be able to get inside of him with that. I don't think Bailey's going to take too kindly. And then Federico, who's watching behind, is probably... If I was him, I'd back out of this a little bit, let them sort it out themselves.
Yeah, and Itsune is also going to go.
He's going to get a good run here to come back at him.
Has a look to the inside. He's got the racing line down into the hairpin, and he's going to get it done. And indeed, look at Federico. Manages to get it side by side. Now he's on the wrong side of the track, though. As they head into the stadium section, Nye pulls a little bit ahead. Could we see a sneak attack? Nope, Alex is going to back out.
Yeah, that hurt Federico too much to be on the outside there. They've got some GT3 company coming up behind them.
Noticing that that GT3 traffic is definitely getting mixed up here. There was a bit of 4 wide at one moment down into the hairpin on the back stretch. That is Anthony Simone, who's still trying to get through the field for the first time. So he is not lapping them. Now that Morad has gotten past Del Campo, it looks like Nick is struggling for pace because he's already up against Gavin Sanders, and he is very close behind down the backstretch here.
Looks like he's going to be side by side with him. They head down the long straightaway. And Sanders going to get by him for now. What can Del Campo do as they come back and soon to be in the stadium section? He gets very close up to the back of him.
Very textbook maneuver there from the number 10 to get into that 6th place. Can he also run down Morad? Still being closely followed, though, by Del Campo. Let's get back to that fight we were watching earlier.
Yeah, the 13th place actually is red hot right now. Roland just got past Montferrat, as also De Angelis gets run into the back by Scott Kidd into the hairpin. So this battle pack here, it's literally a pack that was forming just out of turn 1, where there were 5 cars nearly 2 by 2. Incredible stuff that I'm seeing here from this battle, and I don't know where to look right now.
Still staying with this fight between Montferrante and Nick Roland for what is 13th place. I mean, on the front stretch once again. I think closer than this, honestly, is that fight for third in this GT3 class. Ellis and Kim split by only 0.3 of a second. Up and over the crest of 9. Go ahead.
I've been seeing these two go at it for pretty much the entire 10-12 minutes we've had so far. Take him, can't quite get up to the back of Alex Ellis. He's going to try to outbrake him. Definitely closes in, but he's not going to have the exit.
a little bit wide coming off the corner. You mentioned the penalties earlier. If they get 20 incidents, they are given a stop and go. They have to come into the pits, give a halt in their pit stall before they can get going again. And every 10 incidents after that, they'll get another stop and go. So they do need to worry about the edges of the track and how wide they run.
And you see Kim is there now, but through the stadium section, I'm just not sure if he's going to be able to get the momentum he needs to get up beside Alex Ellis.
Sticking with it. Oh, a little bit wide there. He's going to be able to get side by side. Kim thinks about it. Going the long way around Turkey's probably not going to work. Oh, but look at him find the grip. At first, it almost seemed like he could do something. Traffic in the form of Nathaniel Kelly stays out of the way. Just interrupts them momentarily. A bit offline for Tay. He uses that runoff to his advantage as Ellis is very defensive into the final turn.
I don't think Kim's going to be able to get a big enough run going up the hill now. But he might be able to sneak one through there. No, not going to be able to do it here. Just going to be able to close in on him again.
Back to 15th in this class. Parker Chase has been in a lot of action, and actually down to the inside, Roman DeAngelis. It's rare you can see a pass into the penultimate turn. Montferrante is not going to let him do that now.
Yeah, after being killed, this battle is again going at it, and they have actually once again found Scott Kidd, so they're back at that 4-car gaggle with Nick Rowland just running away with 13th place. Here comes Montferrat to the inside of Parker Chase. Parker Chase nowhere to defend that one, maybe gets to run out of the turn. That always is a viable option, and there you go. Look at that run he has on the inside. Now the shorter line into the next one, but turn 5, that's no slouch, and he does the right thing, slows down, and Montferrat back into 14th place.
Parker Chase says, whoa!
Oh, spin behind!
That was Scott Kidd losing it there. What happened to that? Did he clip the pyramid curve maybe?
Yeah, he slid into the left-hander just a little bit too fast, and bam! And he actually got some quite good lift off of that.
Yeah, it looks like maybe it damaged his car because he decided to take a tow to the pits in the meantime. For those who are just tuning in and hearing the name Parker Chase, yes, indeed, that is the 2019 Pirelli champion, Pirelli World Challenge champion that is in this race right now, fighting for what is 14th in that GT3 class, but Montferrante is holding him at bay.
He's getting attacked right now by Roman DeAngelis to the inside.
So they're going to be side by side as they come through the stadium section, and Chase is going to come out on top. In the meantime, Kim has gotten by Ellis now for 3rd place, but I think Alex is going to come back at him. In fact, look at the defensive line that Tay is taking down into the hairpin, all the way aggressive to the very inside. Could he even get the car turned around in the hairpin with that? Somehow they both make it through, and Alex is going to get that P3 back in his hands.
Yeah, and this battle is soon going to get a little bit more interesting, because just a little bit up the road we have Rich Price and Sam Ward fighting for 11th place in their TCR class, and that should be interesting because, oh, there's a spin in front. Sanders actually gets tagged by Federico Fernandez in the S's.
So Del Campo sneaks by. Sanders back onto the track. Probably going to have a slowdown penalty from that. Let's watch the replay.
That was a big leap.
And Ellis just had a running together with Rich Price.
Oh, hard contact into the corner of the car. Hope he doesn't have suspension damage from that. Let's take a look and see what happened to Ellis on the replay as well. He had fought so hard to get this spot back, and is traffic going to cost it? Whoa!
Oh.
Great
Misjudged that.
maneuver, though. We come back live. He's still holding close to Kim, but not close enough to attack. While we got the chance, The poor lead in the TCR class has not seen much camera time. Mark Alguero still up at the front. And I think, Steph, you were making a note to me behind the scenes about some of what's going on with the tires there?
Yeah, it's extremely easy on these front-wheel drive cars to overheat their tires, and I think that was what Mac Clark is struggling right now in the last 3 laps. He lost that gap to Aguero, about 2 seconds per lap. He's losing right now, not only to Aguero, but also to Bailey, who is right now on the attack. Bailey right tucked under that rear wing.
Riding on board now with Christopher, the number 20 car, just hounding Matt Clark. They've also, is that Nye? Yeah, that's Nye directly behind them. And they're being approached by traffic.
There you can see how much Clark is struggling. 4-turn grip. Just has to slow down immensely to get around these corners that do require quite a lot of grip to make. And yeah, Clark just has to keep his cool, has to keep his tires down, has to just have them stress-free through these laps, and they will recover as Romagnolo comes past Bailey, nearly touches actually the front of Bailey, but great awareness from both of them.
And for those watching the timing screen on the left, I'd say that Ellis got his karma back from Tae Kim. He got by in almost the exact same fashion with traffic holding up Tae. Snuck right through.
Well, remember, Joe, this is the battle for 3rd place, and they do have cash payouts to the podium finishers. This is the cutoff position for that.
That's a good point. That explains why they're fighting so hard up here to try and snatch this spot. More traffic that they're just having to work their way through, tiptoeing by these TCR cars. Again, 10 seconds or more difference between the pace of these two classes.
Yeah, that's a TCR battle that they actually just got past as well. That's why they were in such a gaggle themselves.
Don't forget to check out social media as well. Racing Edge Official, as you saw on your screen, for all your needs. Look at this fight, though, coming through the stadium section. This is with Melvin Rowland, Levine in here as well. Hibbs at the back of it.
And it looks like Tae Kim and Alex just caught up to that TCR battle for P2.
Oh,
which is side by side, and it is getting interesting.
Yeah, most definitely interesting. Oh, the touch!
Over under there, though, for Matt Clark, and he's going to be able to get right back by just as they've got 5th place Daniel Moorhead trying to find a way through. I think he's got the speed to maybe be able to sneak through. There he goes. In the meantime, Bailey has got his hands full. Oh, big bobble from Matt Clark. He's going to have to go off track. Weaves back on. An evasive action from Christopher Bailey denies him a chance at trying the overtake. Somehow they stay in the same position they were.
I'm surprised Sydney Nye was not able to gain in on him. Also dealing with traffic behind him.
Great run coming out of turn 9. Cresting over the hill
More
at 10.
contact.
A little bit more side by side. Huge banging wheels between Bailey and
another
Clark.
one.
And once again, almost sending him sideways. Clark has to collect it. Gets shoved off course. It's getting rough between these two.
And here comes Nye now. That's going to be interesting down this 1.5 kilometer long backstretch. Let's see how effective the draft for either of those cars is, because the yard damage seems like Clark has right now the better speed, but also he hits that stone brick wall right now. As there also comes a GT3, not making it 3 wide. Nick Del Campo makes the sensible option right there, but that brings in another driver of his. That's Gavin Sanders.
That's going to hurt Bailey big time, getting hung out on the outside. Let's see if he can come back at Clark. He definitely can, because now Clark is going to be pinched underneath Gavin Sanders.
And don't forget, that car contact causes 4 incidents, and it's 20 incidents at which you first get a penalty. So they can't really beat and bang like this for too much, or else they'll both be out of the podium positions. It's going to go side by side again. Are we going to get a repeat? To the outside, it's Bailey. Clark to the inside. It'll switch back into the penultimate corner. Trying to swing it out wide. Gets shoved off almost once again by Bailey. Here comes Nye as well, seeing if he can get his nose into there. Clark switches across, takes the inside of the final corner. Almost coming together and rubbing fenders. And they do get together off the course as Clark gets turned around. Bailey is able to keep going, and Nye is laughing his way to the bank. Let's take a look at how this all came about.
Christopher Bailey went off track, the exit of turn 20, and just was showing no remorse when he came back on.
Pull those out, boys. And unfortunately, it left a few bruises this time. So Nye is not scot-free at this point, though, because Bailey is still behind him as we come back live. You see them through the S's, and Bailey seems to have speed because even though he lost about half a second, he's already on the back of him.
Yeah, don't forget Alex Herrera, he's not too far behind him. That is your now 4th place driver. It's the green TCR that you sometimes can see out of the back window right now, riding on board with a nice, yeah, if they continue to fight too much, he is going to be right there.
That traffic's not helping. And in fact, that's going to open things up for Nye, and we had a problem with Take Him, and he's being approached by Nick Del Campo and Sanders, who are battling, but Take Him was off and has lost 4th place to Daniel Morad, has now fallen to P5. I think he got caught out by Alex Ellis into the stadium section. This is it right here. His own mistake. Back live. Looks like we got action in the TCRs again.
Yeah, this is still for 2nd place. Sydney Nye has been caught by Alex Ruera, Christopher Bailey, and David Levine trying to get by them all.
Yeah, actually, Bailey and Nye were side by side, and that allowed Rivera to get past him because they both were too deep on the brakes into the hairpin after a big long straight. Might even be seeing Rivera soon get past both of them because Rivera right now the only guy who's still able to drive 22 seconds laps.
This is where the action is.
This sets up another podium battle too for them to get in the top 3.
Seems like that money is very attractive to these drivers. Can Nye hold on to it? Can Herrera hold on to it? Oh, in fact, he's going to get greedy for a little bit more as he manages to get side by side through the first hairpin. Herrera has the outside of turn 2, but it's going to switch back once they enter the S's, and they're going to block the track for poor Nelson Mason. Finally, they get single file, and Herrera holds on to P2. What an ebb and flow in this TCR class, Steph. It seems like that tire management you were talking about is becoming very important.
Yeah, it is one of the most important things that you have to worry about, especially on a track like this that is very abrasive to your tires. And obviously, also, it is a tad hot here in Texas. Right now, track temperature is scorching 51 degrees Celsius.
124 degrees Fahrenheit for those of us over here in the States. It is, scorching is a good way to put it. My goodness. No wonder we're seeing some drivers having problems managing that. Now, we were watching Ferduco battle earlier. Let's see what's going on here. Who's he fighting with now?
And it's back with Brian Zinn, who's fending him off for 4th place in the TCR class.
Just outside the podium, Zinn's going to defend to the inside. Alex takes the racing line, could go for an over-under, gains a lot of time, but Zinn's too far away for anything to stick.
And one thing I just want to add real quick to Herrera, he and our 1st place driver Aguero are the only 2 drivers right now that still can drive 2-minute 23 lap times.
I think it's a matter of time here for poor Brian Zinn. He does not look terribly quick compared to Durko, excuse me.
These two are not very far back from the battle in front of them. If anything can happen there.
It did. Bailey just got by Nye.
Yes, indeed.
Let's take a quick look at that one. into the penultimate corner that I said was tough to pass on, but looks like Bailey doesn't care whether or not it's difficult. He's going to try and make it happen. Gets the run, gets the car inside, and once he had that track position, there was no stopping him.
Yeah, Sydney was not able to deny that pass right there. Just a little bit too deep on the brakes, and that is all she wrote for that. By the way, because you were saying Fedorko doesn't have too much time to pass anymore, well, yeah, it's only 2 laps to go.
Indeed, and he tried it in the first corner once again, but it didn't quite work out. You can see he's still behind that number 35 machine. Again, I'm shocked because he's had so much more pace than Brian and caught him so quickly, and he's all over the back of him, but can't seem to make anything work. Getting the white flag soon. There's 2 to go from Michael Cooper. He just crossed the line now. Close to the end of this thing.
Have a good opportunity here. You can see him peeking underneath.
But is this going to hurt his exit? This is where he wants that good launch, and he's very shallow. In fact, Zinn was very wide, so those opposing strategies through turn 11 are actually going to pay off for Brian, and he's already nosing ahead.
Fedorko might be able to get back to the inside here, though.
Takes a taste of it, and then looks to the inside, but thinks twice about it, and he's still stuck behind.
Didn't have a great corner entry there either. You can see he just kind of misjudged it at first. That time it's a lot better through the stadium section.
It seems like he needs to be planning ahead a little bit more and maybe not try and get it on the entry as much.
Yeah, he might be able to get one of these, especially if they come up to the last lap here on the corner exit. He might be able to get big momentum.
This is all going to be behind the leader overall, who will get the white flag in about a minute's time. Actually, a little less than a minute's time because we've only got 1:10 left. Michael Cooper is, I wouldn't say had an easy time of it, but has certainly been looking smooth today. We haven't had much reason to show the cameras on him. There you see the bright yellow number 2.
Yeah, and let's not forget Michael Cooper is one of the real-life drivers that has entered this race. He's in real-life driving multiple GT4 series, where he is most definitely more comfortable in those GT cars, as he is proving right now.
Certainly is. A step up to GT3 doesn't look like it'd be that big of a leap for him. So the New Yorker takes the white flag. As that's going on, the battle has not gone away for 5th in the TCR. Zinn and Fedorko still chasing each other through the S's.
Yeah, Zinn did not manage the S's very well. Fedorko was really able to gain on him, but he didn't have the room, the width of the track to be able to get up side by side with him. He might have a good shot at it here. He's looked here before.
I was going to say, but again, last time he cost himself on the run down, even though he had the position. Is he going to try and track out and keep the momentum this time? No, he does not. Neither of them do, actually, but he is going to give the slipstream to Zinn.
Zinn's going to have to look to the inside here. Indeed, he does. Long straightaway. He might be able to get a nose ahead before they even reach the turn.
Side by side. He's not quite ahead yet. Now they're just about even as they hit the braking into the corner. Zinn has the desired line. Can Alex manage to hold him off? No, he goes too deep into the turn and he hands it right back. This is all just ahead of our leader, so unless he catches up by a big margin, they're going to get an extra lap to try and sort this out. There's our leader in the TCR class, Alguero, I believe, starting his final lap.
He is actually coming up to quite a wild battle. It's a 3-way battle there for 9th place in the TCRs. That's Sam Huart, McClug, and Christopher Stalsar and Jeremy Steinhaus. Now also our leader goes 3 wide with them for a short margin there. As Jeremy Steinhaus comes out on top of that battle versus Christopher Stalsar. Actually, Darcy Stiles comes back as our leader is going into the penultimate turn and they crash him behind.
Oh boy, we've got to go to Cooper though, because he's taking the win just now. Michael Cooper out of the final turn. Victory today in the GT3 class in the Racing Edge Esports Challenge. Meanwhile, Alguero leading the way by a handy 13, nearly 14 seconds over Herrera. He has schooled the field today. Roman Yolo's going to get second in the GT3s. Ellis will get third. There's your podium winners taking home some cash today. There's our leader in the TCRs. Herrera, who is looking at second with another big gap, 8 seconds behind him. And then Bailey, I think, has finally disposed of Nye, who looks pretty safe for a third.
Yeah, Sydney Nye is there, but not quite able to get up around Bailey. Don't think the opportunity is going to be there.
It's going to take a big mistake from Christopher for him to have any sort of opportunity. They come through the stadium section now. A nice run for Alguero, proving he doesn't need the pole. All he needs is a good race strategy, a little bit of survival skills, and quite a bit of speed underneath him to take a victory through Turkey and down into the penultimate turn. Long sweeping corner there. And then a very blind off-camber apex. One more to go for the number 30 car. Podium finishers in each of the classes do get cash, so this is an important one for this number 30. Marco Guerrero is going to win today in the TCRs. 95 for Guerrero coming home.
Yeah, and that's impressive because he went from 16th to finish second in this race.
And then the old Bailey, Christopher, is coming through the final turn to take himself a handy third. He had to fight hard for this one. Nye did catch up to him, but it was too little, too late as he just comes home shy of the podium. That's going to be it for our race, I think. So we watch Zin, who gets the handy 5th place over Federico in that battle. The last of them going to be Zlad in number 44. So let's head to break here on the Global Sim Racing channel. We'll come back with the unofficial results as well as driver interviews. Stick around because on screen you're not only going to see some of our sponsors, but all the upcoming races here on GSRC. Welcome back to Circuit of the Americas. We just watched round one of the Racing Edge Esports Championship. Boy, it was a fun race to watch between these two classes. May have only been 30 minutes, but it was awesome stuff. And up at the top, it was Michael Cooper who took the victory, along with Giuliano Romagnolo, another one that was a bit of a quiet race up there. Second place for him, and then Alex Ellis charging forward from fifth to take a podium. Daniel Morad came from 6 up 2 spots for 4th. He had to fight side by side quite a bit today. Take him. A few problems and a little bit of headache with traffic wound up netting him P5, even though he was on the front row. Nick Del Campo wound up in P6. Then you got Gavin Sanders in 7th and Nick Rowland in P8. Tom Empson was 9th today, and Michael Melvin, Nick, was our 10th finisher.
Yeah, Richard Hibbs, David Levine, and Real World GT3 driver Parker Chase are going to be right behind them, 11th, 12th, and 13th. Then you have Anthony Simone and Roman DeAngelis, who begin to the lap down cars, followed by, of course, the TCR class. Mark Alguero, he's going to take the crown over in that class. Alex Herrera, Christopher Bailey will take the podium. Sidney Nye and Brian Zinn are going to round out the top 20.
Yeah, Alex Fedorko just about misses out. He actually started in 20th, that number 21 machine, but he only finishes in 21st slot. Joystick in 22nd, with Sam Hart finishing 23rd. First car 2 laps down. Christopher Stiles 24th. Rich Price did finish in 25th, with Konstantin Berger 26th. Ryan Reynard in 27th. Mac Clark in the very end only finished in 28th, so he did park his car in the very end, didn't finish it completely. Stefan Johansson 29th, and Jeremy Steinhausen finished in 30th.
31st went to Arnel Tabang, with Michael Shaughnessy in 32nd and Federico Fernandez in 33rd. From there, you get to DNFs and drivers who had bad days. Mason Kelly, Montferrante, Kidd, and Slupski rounding out the field. We have second place finisher, a familiar face here on GSRC for us, Giuliano Romagnolo. Giuliano, great run going from 3rd to 2nd, and it sounds like you got a little bit of cash in your pocket with that.
Hey guys, yeah, it's been a while. Thanks for broadcasting, as always. Superb. Guys did a great job, and yeah, it was a good race. I mean, after I settled into second spot there, Cooper was quick. He was really quick. He got some good opportunities to pass some slower TCRs where I got kind of held up, but regardless, he was quicker than me. I was trying to catch him. There's some spots where he made some mistakes, but he was consistent. Wasn't too much of an exciting race, but brought the car home in second, clean, no contacts, and yeah, got some cash out of it. So that's always good.
I'm sure that feels good. But talk to us about the racing conditions, because we noticed during the race that it was 124 degrees Fahrenheit on the track surface. I mean, did it feel that slick?
You know what? After the first couple laps, it just felt like the car was very oversteery, especially through the S's. I actually made a mistake. I don't know if you guys caught that on the broadcast, but I almost crashed the car and DNF'd it. But yeah, it was hard to control in the high speeds for sure. The track temp definitely played a factor. It was greasy out there, that's to say the least.
Well, Giuliano, a question from me then, going on that further. With the tires, obviously you said it did feel slick to you. Did you make any adjustments going into this race to this hot track temperature? And would you say that you didn't do enough to cope with these temperatures?
Honestly, we didn't know what the temperatures were going into this, and with it being fixed setup, there wasn't really much that we could do to prep ourselves for what was to come. It was basically sight unseen. Whatever practice we had prior to qualifying was what we saw for the first time. Obviously, I did a few laps on the track to kind of get my bearings and know where certain parts I could overtake or get some more time in there. But other than that, this was the first time for everybody to see this setup and track temps. So yeah, for sure. I mean, it was definitely something that was surprising and hard to manage, especially with the TCRs. The closing speed of the R8s to the TCRs was insane. So having them and trying to pass them before us or in the S's or in any high speed corner was pretty difficult.
Well, next up, we are actually going to go to a similar track layout-wise, it's Spa-Francorchamps, a lot of high-speed corners with some slow mixed in. How are you looking forward to that race?
Yeah, I mean, it's a great track as well. Very similar, like you said. So, I mean, hopefully we can possibly dial that setup in a little bit more to, make it easier for, everybody to enjoy. But other than that, I mean, it's going to be a great track, a lot of overtaking, a lot of straights. One of my favorites as well. So hoping to get another good finish there. Before I go, I want to give a shout out to a couple of friends. I got Danny and Britt watching. So thanks, guys. And thanks for everybody else that's watching the stream and following you guys and watching on Racing Edge. You guys put on a great event, and hope to see you soon, or next Tuesday, actually.
Yeah, next Tuesday, the next race will be at Spa-Francorchamps, as I said. Giuliano, congrats once again on your second place finish.
Thanks, guys. Thanks again.
Yeah, so that was Giuliano there, and I think you're next going to speak to Daniel Marat and Slad.
Indeed, as two of the race organizers join us, two of the racers as well. So let's start with the racing and start with Zlad here. Looked like it was pretty tough out there with traffic and everything. So how do you feel about your race now that you've had one down?
Yeah, I think I did quite all right, considering that I threw away my qualifying laps going off track and whatnot. So, yeah, getting through the traffic, it wasn't treacherous and it wasn't as many big incidences as we see often in iRacing. So, I thought it was pretty clean.
Yeah, it looked okay, at least from our perspective, even though we did have some incidents. Daniel, what about you? Obviously, having raced out in the real world, probably stressful at times, but not nearly as stressful as you feel racing in the big boys.
I think the biggest stress, to be honest, was making sure that everyone had a good time. At the end of the day, the responsibility falls on Zlad and myself to execute the job for Racing Edge. And I think that for the first round of this championship, it's so new to all parties involved. I think we executed well. The broadcast looked great. The driving standards were pretty respectable, except for myself in turn one. I was just taking a peek at the replay to see, whose responsibility it was. And you know what? In racing, there's always responsibility in all parties. And yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, it was just a lot of fun. I enjoyed myself. I hope everybody had as much fun as I did. It looks really, really, good on Racing Edge, considering they're one of the few series that are offering prize money for drivers in these times. It's a great way to give people an opportunity to earn money as well, because people are out of work. And also, they're going to be donating the exact payout to all the podium finishers to a local food drive. So out in Vancouver, which is awesome as well. Really, really nice to see that they're going to be supporting families that aren't doing so well in these unfortunate times.
That is fantastic to hear that you guys are doing what you can to help out in this, like you said, in these difficult times. Tell us a little bit about your relationship with Racing Edge, though, and how did you guys all come up with this idea? Is there anything in particular in relation to your choice in the Audis?
Well, first off, to just explain how we got connected, Zlad, I've been friends with him for quite a few years now. And he connected myself and Racing Edge, and now we have a partnership for this series. And they're also supporting me through my pro IMSA races that are taking place online as well on iRacing. Obviously, we can't go to the racetrack, but I'm racing an Audi R8 GT3 this year in the IMSA WeatherTech series. So yeah, just came off a podium finish at the Rolex 24, third consecutive podium finish for myself, 3 out of 3. But yeah, this time driving an Audi, and won it back in 2017 in a different manufacturer. But yeah, definitely the choice for the vehicle in this series was primarily based on my relationship with Audi at this point, and me driving. And you know what? It's a great car to drive, very driver friendly, especially the TCR. I'm kind of envious of those TCR drivers. One of my favorite cars in the game. I think the raceability is top notch. It makes for very, very exciting races, as you can see in the real world in the WTCR series. But yeah, it was pretty hectic up front in the GT3 class. And you had Michael Cooper, who's a real life driver. Giuliano has karting experience, and he is the absolute GOAT. He's so quick out there. One of the top sim racers. Alex Ellis, also a very quick driver. I was pushing my butt off to try to catch him at the end. But yeah, the GOAT is definitely a fan favorite. I can tell you right now. There's people cheering in my Twitch chat right now. They're buying for him.
Understandable why. And Giuliano, honestly, we're pretty familiar with as we've watched him racing. We knew we expected him to be quick today. Zlad, before we let you and Daniel go, any tracks that you're looking forward to most in this 6-race season?
Yeah, I think Spa's going to be very exciting. Daniel and I tried to choose tracks that are longer in duration to allow the two classes to split up. So Spa should be fun. I believe it's the next round. So registration opens tomorrow. And just before I lose you guys, thanks to everyone that watched. Thanks to everyone that participated. And of course, thank you to Racing Edge for allowing us to make this opportunity for the motorsport community, both drivers and fans alike. Yeah.
Great stuff. And again, that was Lad and Daniel Morad. And they are, of course, involved with our sponsor, RacingEdge.com. Want to put your racing skills to the test on the track? Visit RacingEdge.com and check out the latest listings for race cars and classic cars. From super quick McLarens to vintage Ferraris, RacingEdge.com will cater for your needs. Want to learn more about how to get into motor racing? Visit RacingEdge.com/media for more. Thank you to them for sponsoring this series and bringing it to us for coverage. I think we had a good time today, and we're looking forward to the remaining 5 rounds. But a thank you also goes out to the companies that provide the software and the hardware for our broadcast listed here on your screen. Additional thanks go to June Lalonde, who provides our wonderful music. See the screen for how to get hold of more of her great work. And thanks to the team today, Sean, Steph, Nick, and Dougie. If you'd like to find out more about GSRC, including upcoming races, you can find it at globalsimracingchannel.com. Or you can check out our social media on Twitter at GSR Channel, Facebook at Global Sim Racing Channel, and Instagram at GSRC_Graham. If you'd like to support us, go check out our merchandise store at gsrc.storenv.com, where we've got a link in the description below. While you're down there, make sure and subscribe to our YouTube channel by hitting that big red button. The next race, as we mentioned, we're going to Spa. That'll be Tuesday, April 28th at 4 p.m. Eastern. We also have upcoming races for other series listed on the screen, so check those out and mark them down on your calendar, including the PRL GTE Sports Car Series coming up tonight. But until next time, race clean, race hard. We'll see you on the track.